Good morning. Welcome to the Pitchlight Chronicles, where fans become family. I am Uncle Tats, back from his vacation, which I so needed, but missed you guys. Rob, Donald, missed everybody in the chat. But what is still missing is the Yankees offense. We saw the outburst in Colorado, and we're like, all right, things are starting to click. And, not to discredit Baltimore's pitching, but our hitting should have done so much more damage. We really should have been able to get to those guys. But that was not the case. And one person in particular that is absolutely pissed off is Donald. So I'm going to throw it to Donald. And Donald, what's pissing you off about this team the most?
Yeah, I'm not feeling in the mood for pleasantries right now. First of all, fundamentals. Fundamentals. I need to preach fundamentals because it's not being preached within the Yankee organization. That inning was ridiculous. And that inning I'm referring to is the inning where Anthony Rizzo basically ran 5 yards from the frickin' warning track in right field trying to make an over the frickin' shoulder grab. Why didn't Soto call him off? Why did he go and charge out there? Why was he 20 yards from first base? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why is nobody communicating? I mean, you get taught that in Little League. Why is no one communicating? That's terrible. Gleyber Torres, now this is a daily event with Gleyber Torres where he does something exponentially stupid. And he did it again this time where he threw to the wrong base. Take the guaranteed out. Fundamentals. You get taught that in Little League.
Yep.
Little League. Take the guaranteed out. He didn't have the angle to throw him out at third. I am furious because this has been going on for years. It's constant. What is going on? Why does anybody not sit down after these events happen, sit down and talk to them? Gleyber Torres has been doing this for years. This is not an isolated event. This is actually the second occasion this month that he's thrown to the wrong base. That's cost us a run. And nothing seems to be done about it. So I'm looking straight firmly at Aaron Boone. Stop being his friend. Stop being a friend to these guys and actually preach fundamentals because I am freaking sick of repeating this. It's been going on for years. It's not an isolated event. As for the offense, so the defense is a joke, and also Vulpe is having a gold glove month. But that error that he made, cost us the game in game one. It essentially took us right out of it with that error. I mean, dude, you were just standing at second base, just grab the ball. What are you doing? Why is the entire middle infield continually making these errors? Like Anthony Rizzo is playing horrible at first base. Gleyber Torres is playing horrible at second base. Volpe's been good, bar that error. Ozzy, good offensively, but he's been playing horribly at third as well. And none of our catchers are throwing anybody out at second base. We're seeing a lot of really bad fundamentals. So that's the defense, right? The offense, again, another Little League error. Giancarlo Stanton managed to get himself thrown out running from first to second on a single. What are we doing here? Why is? I mean, I know that he's slower than your grandmother, but why can't you read the ball off the bat? It wasn't gonna get caught. Why did you do a herky jerky motion? Step towards second base. Give yourself a chance to get to second base, knowing the fact that you're as slow as molasses. Honestly, continents can move faster than Giancarlo Stanton. And honestly, that's ridiculous. That's something, again, that's Little League. You get thrown out on a single? That is Little League. That happens to a 4-year-old who's sitting picking his nose, standing between first and second base because your parents want that 4-year-old to get some exercise and to stop playing with his iPhone. And then he's standing there in between first and second base, picking his nose. I am getting sick of this. I'm getting sick of these lack of fundamentals. And the offense in general is so inconsistent. And I'm looking squarely again at Mr. Captain Aaron Judge, where he's, grounding on a double play. Why are you continually rolling? Why do you continually roll over on pitches? Why are you continually killing every single inning? And you're just blowing bubbles. I'm telling you, the real leader in this team is Juan Soto. He's the only one that shows intensity. Same with Verdugo, to be fair. I want some intensity. I'm not saying you run around and you start, squaring up to them, but I want a little bit more energy and accountability. I want Aaron Judge to actually be a leader. He's a captain in name only right now because he should be communicating. After Torres made that freaking error, I should have seen him in the dugout talking to these people. After Rizzo ran the warning track in right field, there should have been some kind of level of communication, talking, be a captain, be a leader. Honestly, he needs to take some accountability because I don't know why he leads the majors in grounding into a double play. None of this is acceptable. None of it. Honestly, and Aaron Boone is doing nothing about it. And by the way, we saw evidence of it in spring training. Remember those instances where Aaron Boone would be talking and doing those interviews and the infield would just implode in front of us, where people were throwing the wrong base and it was going this way, here, there, and everywhere. And that should have been snuffed out then and there in spring training, but clearly it wasn't. Clearly it was ignored, and we're going a month into the year, and we're still getting the most ridiculous infield errors that you're never going to win a World Series with, let alone win a playoff series with. It needs to get cut out now. I am sick of it. I'm sick of watching it because I'm sick of repeating myself because it's been going on about 5 years. I want some more accountability, leadership, and effort. Juan Soto is the leader of this team. And Verdugo, please come back. Please. A bit of energy and a bit of decent at-bats. Honestly, it's the middle of this batting order is unathletic and it grounds out double plays and they look washed. Fix it. And fix the stupid defense. Fix it. I'm sick of watching it.
No, the defense has definitely been an issue that we've addressed multiple times. I want to get Rob's take on it, but before we do, and before we pass the baton along, I just want to shout out one comment here. Izzy, ICB, Devo. I know I butcher everybody's name, so now you're part of the club. But good morning from SoCal. Finally caught a live. Hope you are enjoying it. And if everybody is enjoying the content, just make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you have not already. The defense definitely needs to be cleaned up. The at-bats definitely need to be cleaned up. They're flailing at everything, but I want to get Rob's take on this. Rob, how you feeling about it?
How can we feel, right? It's bad baseball. I'm more concerned about the defense than I am the offense because, again, these guys are too good. We've been saying this for a whole month now, and Judge is too good for this to keep up offensively. Rizzo's too good for this to keep up because we've seen the flashes that it's still there. So I'm not too concerned about the offense. They will get going again. But this defense has been an issue the entire way. And Donald is right. In spring training, it did rear its ugly head a few times. It was just spring training, though, so it didn't really get magnified. But now we've seen it pretty much every series at least once. They just make some blunder that makes you want to tear your hair out. And it's annoying because we've never seen Gleyber Torres be this bad. He's had his issues, don't get me wrong, but he's making mistakes that he's never done this stuff before, like not taking the sure out. We've seen him do that. Let the runner go to third, take the sure out, and hope your pitcher can get the next guy. He's always been maybe not a great second baseman, but he's been like an average second baseman, which can get you through an MLB career if you're average defensively. But now he's just terrible. Rizzo, I don't know what he's doing. Why are you running straight down the foul line to catch one over the shoulder like you're Willie Mays. You're not. Just let Soto get it. The ball's in the outfield. Why are you running all the way into the outfield? And now Soto can't make the play because if he does, he's going to run into you. These are things that Anthony Rizzo, of all players, should know. So it's frustrating to see that because I don't think Nestor was terrible yesterday. That first run should never have scored. It would have given you another 3-run start. I don't know how many innings he went, but it was another solid Nestor start. Schmidt gave you his all the day before, and we're not backing up these pitchers. It's the same crap as last year with a little bit of Juan Soto sprinkled in because that's really all we're getting right now. And until some of these leaders do step up, I'm hoping it's not the trend, but we talked about it on Monday. How many times have we seen a great offensive series and you're like, oh, they look like they're back. And then the very next game, they look lost. It happens too often with this team. And this lineup is too good. Now, I'm hoping that a Verdugo return can fix some stuff, but we're asking one guy to fix an entire lineup struggles. I don't know. I mean, everybody looks bad at times except for Soto and Wells yesterday. How many rally-ending double plays are we going to hit? Judge has 10. Rizzo's got a handful already. This is becoming a common theme, and this is my argument to the people that say, oh, I don't like launch angle. I don't think exit velocity matters. It does, because if we were hitting these balls a little bit higher up in line drives, we'd probably have a few more base hits instead of double plays. So I'm so tired of seeing these weak rollers. What is this? Aaron Judge is the guy that should be hitting the ball 114 miles an hour straight down the line or into the gaps or over the wall. Instead, he's rolling over into double plays. Rizzo's popping out. It's very frustrating because these are much better hitters than what we're seeing. The silver lining in all this is that we do have 19 wins at the end of April, but if this stuff keeps up, that 19 wins could stay at 19 and that loss count can climb up quickly because we've already lost 2 in a row to a very good team. And they haven't necessarily beat the crap out of us. We've beaten ourselves in the first 2 games. And that's the frustrating part because we've kept a really good Baltimore lineup to 6 runs in total. And a couple of those runs are directly given to them by the Yankees. So it's frustrating. And I'm hoping it changes very, very soon. But we've been saying that and saying that for 5 years now. We're hoping it changes. We're hoping it changes. It hasn't changed yet. So until it does, we're just going to keep hoping and keep looking up to the baseball gods and say, fix this, or have somebody get in there and fix this. But
Rob, what is behind this? Because it's been going on for years. Is this a management thing?
No,
I think it is. Maybe it is. Maybe they're just too friendly with each other. Maybe it's just like okay, you'll get him next time. But I really, really, really miss DJ LeMahieu right now because these are plays that he would not be making. And I know take away his bat for a second. Defensively, he does not make these. He does not have these issues. And if he was here right now, I don't think we'd be seeing Torres playing as much defensively. I think he'd be a DH right now, or maybe even sitting, because he needs to get a day off. But the problem is we don't really have anybody to replace him right now. Who are you going to start? Jahmai Jones? We need Birdie back. We need DJ back. I really, really hate that Peraza was hurt because we can certainly use his glove out there too. It's a big issue right now with this infield defense, and it's cost us a few games.
Yeah, look, it's Bill Parcells said, you are what your record says you are, but this record does not reflect the way this team has been playing. They don't look like a team that should be this far ahead in the win column. And that's the scary part of it. And it's not claiming that, had a small back and forth with somebody on X last night, saying that a lot of people are claiming that, because of these 2 games, the season's over. And I'm like, well, I'm not the one that's saying that. I'm just frustrated with the way this team is playing. Being frustrated over a series is not the same as saying that the season is over. There's still plenty of baseball to be played, but they're not playing fundamental baseball. You were referencing, the whole thing with Rizzo. Even, with Judge in left field, him and Vulpe had a small collision. Luckily, the out was made and nobody got hurt. I'm waiting any day to have that little league bullshit where the ball gets popped up in the air and every infielder runs for it. Like that's what I'm waiting for.
Communicating.
Well, you got 9 guys going, I got it. You know, and then it ends up falling anyway. You know, the base running, it's like they're running backwards sometimes. It's like they have no there's no pride. There's no pride when they're playing. You know, I never thought that Vertuga would be the missing piece of the lineup. You know, because as good as Grisham's defense is, he is a negative in the lineup.
Oh, he's been terrible.
He is absolutely atrocious. It's like he's picking up where Hicks left off. He's just, it's pointless for him to even be on the team. Because there's plenty of, you could always put, well, we don't have, with the Mayhew's that missing link. We need him back. We really do.
Oh, we need him back, like 100%.
It's and it's a shame what he's gone through because he's he wants he's trying to will himself to play, but they're not letting him. His body's saying his body's saying not yet, but his mind is ready and willing to go.
But I really think this is down to Aaron Boone. I think it leads from the top.
And you know what the sad part about that is?
To be fair, we've given Aaron Boone praise.
I was just going to say that,
right? For a month, we have given him relative praise. But there's something here that is going to be a sickness that's going to spread through this organization, and it needs to be cut out right freaking now. And that is fundamentals. You should start with fundamentals and work from there. But the fundamentals are gone. Now, I know that in the modern era, fundamentals aren't stressed as much as it was back in the 90s. And for people that are maybe younger in the stream that watch, fundamentals was preached heavily back in the day. Not so much now in the analytic era. Now that you've got iPads, now you've got laptops, and you can just rewatch your at-bat or rewatch the pitch that you just made. I get that. But fundamentals are still very, very important, right? And it seems to be completely forgotten in this organization, right? Because they think, hey, we're going to hit a home run and it's going to be fine, right? But there are still margins. You need to work on the margins. And this has been something the Yankees haven't done this entire month. And I'm very happy that we're 19-12. But the thing is, there's been a bunch of games where the margins haven't been paid attention to. Making the right play, throwing to the right base, making the right fundamental run between first and second, not getting yourself thrown out between second and third for a first out, whatever. Fundamentals, hit and run. These things are not being preached within the organization because you can tell. Because there's just this laissez-faire attitude. I'm sick of looking at it. I'm sick of it. I want my manager right now to be going, right, guys, get the frick up, right? Time to get up. Get to the ball field in Camden Yards, and you're going to be doing some defensive drills in the next 2 hours. Oh, you don't like it? Well, stop throwing the ball all over the frickin' infield in front of people yesterday. How about that, right? You fix your infield issues, then you can go and sleep, right? So that's the first thing that should be done. Oh, and you're going to go cry to Brian Cashman. But you're not going to cry to me because this is sick. I'm sick of this. You're the New York Yankees. You wear the NY on your frickin' hat. Time to play like it. Right? I know that's more Joe Girardi than Aaron Boone, but Aaron Boone needs to stop being their friend. He can be their friend after the ball game, but right now you're the manager. This needs to stop, and it is serious. It's not anything other than serious. You can't play like this, especially when you're in a series against the team that you're competing for the division with. The margins matter, and that inning was disturbing to me, and that's why I'm so pissed. It was disturbing. I was so disturbed that after that error, I basically was like, I'm done. The Yankees are going to lose this game. Even when Wells hit the home run to tie the game, I watched it till that point. I was like, they're still going to lose this game because that inning told me everything that was going to happen in this ballgame. It was a disgrace. And then I checked back for the 9th inning, saw that we're 4-2 down. And then that inning against Webb, where Stanton swung at a pitch in the opposite batter's box 20 feet from the plate, and he still swung at it. Anthony Rizzo, I didn't care. It was a pitch that was up near his freaking shoulders, above his shoulders even. Neck height, swinging at it, swinging like a carrot top. What are you doing? That inning, in that 9th inning, when you're down 2 runs, they gave up. They were not interested in that game. You could tell. They were all up there like it was a joke. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, let's try and swing at this dude. I don't know what's coming. I'm just gonna keep swinging. That's what they all told. That was the attitude. And did you guys see Juan Soto's face at the end of that game? While everyone else is just like, oh yeah, chewing gum, freaking don't give a fuck, Aaron Judge, captain, fuckface. But the one person that fucking cared was Juan Soto staring through that dugout with a steely look like, this is not acceptable. And I want to see more people like that.
No, we definitely need a lot more fire on this team. Yeah, it can't be all on Soto. It really can't. It can't be all on Verdugo. You know, it's... Do we really want to go? Is it all Judge's fault? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think it's his attitude. I think his struggles at the plate are in a roundabout way deflating the rest of the team, because only one person's able to really pick them up, and once they get to Judge, your threat has already taken their at bat. Soto's already done what he's going to do, and there's nobody else that's going to pick him up. So we kept saying we needed somebody to bring in to balance Judge out, but Judge is the one that's now off balance. I don't, like I said last week, body language says everything, and this team's body language is embarrassing. And it is unacceptable.
Look, before we jump the gun with a lot of people are like, oh, what, Soto's not going to come back. It's 1 month. A lot can change. And I know it's bad right now, but if anyone thinks this is going to keep up with Aaron Judge an entire season, I'm sorry. You haven't watched him. He's not going to do this the entire year. He's going to be better. There's a reason we were screaming for him to get paid all off season 2 years ago. There's a reason he was given the captain status. There's a reason he basically runs the entire city. He's not going to keep this up. He's too good of a player for this to keep up. There's a lot of other guys that need to step up too, but right now we're kind of circling him because he is the captain. He does need to step up. I'm not going to excuse him from anything. 11 double plays out of 35. Thank you, Acevedo, for that stat. That's unacceptable. It does need to change. But let's not pretend like because they're 19-12 and they just lost 2 games to the Orioles that Juan Soto's not going to resign now. We've seen that when they're kicking ass, they're all having fun. It's just that when he's showing the anger that we're all feeling. He's showing the emotion that we're all feeling right now. And we'd like to see a little more of that. Like, hey, I'm pissed off too. Let's fix this. I want to see more of that from Judge. So I'm not trying to excuse him from anything, but a lot of people are out there saying, oh, Soto's not going to come back now. Why? Because we lost 2 games at the end of April. He's not going to resign. Like, this is going to change. But I don't want to say we need to be patient, but let's pump the brakes on the talk of what's going to happen in November when we're in April right now. We're just starting May. This team is much better than they've been playing as. And we've already seen the glimpses of it. They were 12-3 for a reason, and we were feeling on top of the world. We've already seen the flashes of it, and this is our bad stretch. What are we, 7-9 in that bad stretch? It can get better at the snap of a finger. It sucks that we're playing like this against the Orioles. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it, and it is unacceptable. But let's not pretend that it can't change. But it's going to take the captain. It's going to take the manager. It's going to take the veteran leaders like Rizzo, even Torres to a degree. Hopefully a return of Cole's going to get these guys back on track. A DJ return would be a huge boost for this team in terms of getting some veterans. And maybe we do add some athleticism with some of the young guys like a Dominguez and a healthy Peraza down the line. That can also help. We have some bullets returning from injury to where things can get better. But when it comes to Aaron Judge and these struggles, I don't know what it is. I kind of want them to just explore putting Judge back in the tool hole and see if that gets him some better pitches to hit.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I said that 3 weeks ago. I mentioned it, and I still want to see it. I want to see if that helps. Just because having Soto behind Judge is a lot better than having Rizzo behind Judge or Stanton behind Judge, because Soto's not affected by anybody. It doesn't matter if you have prime Ken Griffey Jr. behind him or Aaron Hicks behind him. He's going to have the exact same at bat as he normally would. That guy's plate discipline, his control of the strike zone, his approach with whether it's 1 strike or 2 strikes, 0-2, 3-2, it doesn't change. So he's not affected. But Aaron Judge has shown that tendency. He will chase. That's always been his issue, is he will strike out a bunch. That's not Soto's issue. They're 2 extremely good players, but Soto's probably the more disciplined guy, which is fine because Aaron Judge is still a 300 hitter or high 280s, whatever it may be, with a bunch of home runs and a bunch of ribbies. Juan Soto is the more patient approach. He's the more, I guess you could say, disciplined approach. But I think we need Soto in the 3 spot, have Judge bat second. Let's see what can happen. What's the worst that can happen? That's what I want to see, that switch. Give me that little change and see if it wakes Aaron Judge up.
The only problem with that is that Soto will come up with 2 outs and nobody on, and that's no good for anyone. But you're right, something needs to be done because Aaron Judge just keeps grounding into a double play and taking him off the base paths. That's what seems to be happening right now. That's what seems to be happening. And also, we should maybe be looking at Anthony Vulpe again. I don't know if he's a leadoff guy right now. I think it was too early. I think Verdugo needs to be up top. I really do. But Aaron Judge, it doesn't matter where you put him. If he continues to roll over on pitches and ground into a double play and negates the inning, I don't know what you do with that. So he does need to take accountability. I'm fitting because he's a captain, and I expect better fundamentals from my captain, right? And for me, like, a Yankee captain is iconic. It's a big deal, right? And there's more to leadership than just being the best player of your team and being the best player of a generation, not named Juan Soto. There's more to that than just being a great home run hitter. You also need to represent the organization, which he does very well. But you need to do it off the field and on the field. And I need him to show some leadership and start talking to these guys and start showing them what it means to wear the Yankees. And I don't know if he does that. And I've noticed that since day dot. I think he's just one of the guys. I don't see captaincy vibes from him, man. I never agreed with giving him the captaincy in the first place. I don't think that's him. I think he's one of the guys. I think he likes to be a leader, but I don't think he's the captain. Derek Jeter, now that's a captain. That is someone who held people accountable quietly, right? And you wouldn't see this kind of nonsense if Derek Jeter was on this team, because the stuff that's going on, a real leader does not allow it to happen. Now, he wouldn't make a public show out of it, but after the game, in the clubhouse, he would be sitting there and he'd be talking to them. You can't do that, right? And also, I don't want to see people just chewing gum looking bored, right? And I need more from my manager. Aaron Boone skates by because he's a freaking lovely guy and he's so cool to listen to. But, dude, you're a manager. You need to manage this team. Manage them. You can't allow that to happen under your watch, because then it goes firmly on you. And I can't blame him. It's not his fault that people are that Stanton is swinging at pitches 20 feet from the plate. That's not his fault that Anthony Vulpe is swinging at pitches at his neck. That's on them. It's not his fault that Vulpe couldn't handle an easy ground ball to second base and he fumbled it. And it's not his fault that Rizzo ran to the right field warning track for no reason. It's not his fault he's doing all that. But still, it's under his watch. And so the first thing that he should be telling these guys is communicate. Communicate. Aaron Judge, you are the captain. Communicate with your outfielders, right? Juan Soto, you should be calling off Rizzo. Yo, stop! I got this. Somebody call, somebody off, somebody talk, communicate. And Gleyber Torres is the absolute front and center of this because these guys, Anthony Rizzo is a semi-Gold Glove first baseman. He learned from it. Torres never learns from it. And I want to know why nobody ever talks to Gleyber Torres. Now, I know he's in his head all the time, but somebody needs to talk to him because he does this all the goddamn time. Talk to him. Stop throwing the wrong base. Stop playing a hero. Take the guaranteed runner out. You're not that good. If you're a better second baseman, maybe, but you're not that good. Take the out at first.
See that's the big thing. That's why when you wanted to talk about the fundamentals, it was the perfect time to do it because that's exactly that's the biggest problem. Why is the Yankee record the way it is? Why they get all those wins with solid, not Cy Young like, but solid outings from the starters, the bullpen handling their business, and the offense was taking the approach at the plate very differently than years past. They weren't chasing out of the zone. They were making the pitchers work to get them out, as opposed to them just giving the outs away now. That ninth inning, you're not down by 10 runs, but you're like, just get me out of here. It was a you're only down by 2. Why the hell are we swinging the pitches out of the zone every damn time? It was like they couldn't wait for the game to be over.
Yes.
That was the vibe I got. They wanted to go home. They're like, you know what? We don't have a chance in hell against this team. Where the kids, the Oriole players, look, this is not a discredit to them. This is really an attack on our team. But they're still in their learning process with their rookies. And these last 2 games, their young core outclassed ours. And that's unacceptable. Because our guys have been around the game, been on the major league level a lot longer. So, Rizzo swinging it, Rizzo. He was swinging at every pitch like he was determined to swing no matter where the ball was. Same thing with Stanton. Torres actually took a ball out of took a ball in that was down and away. I'm like, wow, you missed the swing sign. I'm like,
make a good point with the Orioles, Tats. They're a very young team, right? But all of them are absolutely fundamentally sound. They don't make the kind of errors that a veteran team like the Yankees are making, and that's why I'm pissed off. If anything, it should be the other way around. It should be the kids that are still trying to get a grasp on the fundamentals, and the veterans knowing what to do, even if they're slower, right? But it's the other way around. These are guys like Anthony Rizzo, semi-Gold Glove first baseman through his career. Why? Whatever possessed you? Did somebody get a hold of your brain and communicate to you that you needed to run to right field as a first baseman? That doesn't make any sense. I've never seen that before. Like, you don't see that from experienced guys that are all-stars. Gleyber Torres was an all-star second baseman. Anthony Rizzo been one of the best first basemen in the league for a long time. And they're making some dumbass errors that you don't see for a Baltimore Orioles team that are young, that have a lot of them just been called up, and they're all fine. They're all fundamentally sound. And they all make the right plays at the right time, take the outs at the right time. And guess what? They're the best team in the division because of it. It's about the margins. So I know I look like I'm ranting and raving, but the real reality behind this is if you want to be the best, you have to win by the margins. And the Yankees aren't winning by the margins right now. They're winning by hitting the ball as far and as hard as they frickin' can, which is great most of the time. But against that great teams, where runs are at a premium. It's about the margins. You need your defense to be absolutely pinpoint. You need your base running to be absolutely pinpoint. And we're not seeing that.
D-Rod, no one's saying revamp the whole team. We're just pointing out flaws with the team that we had.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for Gleyber Torres to get traded today. I'm not asking for Aaron Judge to get his captaincy stripped, as apparently that's a conversation going on. I don't know who's talking about revamping what. We're saying Anthony Rizzo is, well, that's what Donald just said. He's a gold glove first baseman. Play like one. Gleyber Torres is an all-star. Play like one. Anthony Vulpe is actually, he won a gold glove last year. He's been fine defensively with a couple of miscues here and there, but overall he's been very, very good. My expectations for Cabrera defensively were already low, so he's kind of doing what I expected. We're expecting Aaron Judge, who's an MVP, to play like one. At least be better than what he is. Step up when we need you to. We're asking our key guys to step up here, and change the lineup a little bit. We're not saying, oh, we got to move Judge to 7 and move Stanton to 9. No, just flip 2 people. That's all I'm asking. If you want to leave Vulpe lead off, fine. Do it, because I've already said my piece of that. I didn't agree with it when it happened. I thought it was too early. I still don't agree with it, but now you really can't switch him because it's going to kill his confidence even further. So you got to leave him there. But if you want to keep the lineup the way it was, just flip Soto and Judge. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about let's move Torres to 9th. Let's do this. Let's do that. No, just flip those 2 and see what happens. That's all I'm saying. So no one's talking about revamping anything. And we wanted Verdugo at the leadoff spot to start the season. I didn't want Volpe leading off at all. I said, don't do it. Yeah, I did not want any of those guys leading off. I wanted Verdugo at the top of the order because when Dominguez was healthy, I kept saying, that's my leadoff hitter. He fits the mold of a prototypical leadoff hitter in today's game. I know Volpe fits the old school mold, but we've already seen him struggle in that part of the order. That's why I didn't want to see it, especially after a hot start. I said, no, it's too soon. And unfortunately, I've kind of been proven right, but I hope I get proven wrong. That's my stance on it. I just want them to flip Judge and Soto because Soto doesn't care if he's batting second, first, third. On the other team, he's going to have the exact same at bat.
Yeah, no, it's, I can see Volpe as a leadoff hitter, but I think they jumped the gun too much, too quickly rather. I would have, if it would have been after the All-Star break and Volpe still having a solid year and he's, working the accounts, he's making contact, he's getting the extra base hits. Yeah, then you explore putting him in the leadoff spot. But no, I was with Rob. I want, Dominguez is that he's your textbook leadoff hitter. Contact, power, speed. He could, and it was a very small sample size, but he was very patient at the plate. He wasn't trying to force a moment. He was just taking the moments given to him, and that's for a guy coming up in the situation that he did. In Houston, when Dominguez got called up, you already saw the mature approach of his at-bats. It was almost very Soto-like. He was taking the pitches where they were. That's the leadoff hitter you want. Don't force the moment. Sometimes it seems like Volpe's forcing the moment. And that's why I think he's in this little bit of a tailspin. Of course, but I also said, we all knew that Volpe wasn't going to be a 400 hitter the whole year. He was going to tail off a little bit. It just coincided with him being moved to the leadoff, so that's what everybody wants to blame it on. So I think that's also unfair to Volpe. That is because he's not a leadoff hitter.
Right,
he was going to level off. It was just the timing of the move.
But he was also so good in the 6th spot. Why not leave him there? They moved Torres, even Aaron Boone. This is my biggest issue with it. Aaron Boone himself told John Boy and Jake, he was starting to see the ball a lot better in the leadoff spot, but I felt like he was pressing. Why did you change it then? Because we were winning games. We were this was before the doubleheader, I think, when they made the switch. So they were still like a 10-win team at the time. I was like, why did you change it if it didn't need to be changed? That was my biggest issue. It didn't need to be changed, and they changed it. And since then, the offense has really taken a tailspin outside of those 2 games in Milwaukee. So maybe when Verdugo does come back and it all goes back to the way it was, that'd be fantastic. But you're asking a lot for one guy who was vilified by half the fan base when we got him. Now it's up to you to save the day. You're gone for 2 days, you're on paternity leave, and now you got to go save this entire offense. You're asking a lot for one guy. It's not like he's Willie Mays coming in the lineup.
To that point, right, we've got 2 guys in a walk here that are so absolutely vital to the chemistry and the makeup of this lineup. Everything. Like, Verdugo going on paternity leave is the worst thing that could have happened, which is unbelievable. Verdugo, did anybody expect that? Well, actually, we did as a podcast. We actually felt that he'd be a great addition. But did I think that he would, basically save the locker room? I mean, already? Because he's brought in an energy, he's brought in an intensity that has been missing all the last few years, right? With the old guard. So he is really important. He's in a walk here. He's not even guaranteed to come back next year. Juan Soto, for me, is everything. He is everything. It's unbelievable how good Juan Soto is, for one, how blessed we are to have him for at least these 12 months. But, bro, he's everything. He's the only person in the world, and it sounds like I'm beating up on him, but he's the only person in the world that makes Aaron Judge look like Robin. Because he's Batman. Juan Soto is Batman. He's the Batman of this team. We're very, very blessed to have him. But if you want him for longer than these next 12 months, we need to start showing him that there's some accountability here and that we're ready to win. And it comes from the captain. I need Aaron Judge to be better. So we need to look at the way that this lineup is constituted, right? So who's the leadoff guy? I don't know. Vulpe will be a leadoff guy eventually, right down the line. But at the moment, he was batting 500 in the 6-hole. That was a good spot for him. There was not too much pressure on him, and he was able to steal bases at free will because he wasn't too concerned. There's a different mentality when you on base and you got Aaron Judge and you got Juan Soto following you. You don't want to run yourself out before they come to play. But if you're lower in the order and you get on base, you can steal bases. Go for it. Be aggressive. I think that the spot for him was in the lower half now, and then you condition him to being a leadoff hitter down the line. There's no rush for that right now. Verdugo has had experience being a leadoff hitter through most of his career. That made sense to me. Gleyber Torres has never struggled with being a leadoff guy. I don't know why they gave him the first dab at being a leadoff guy. Gleyber Torres
was hurt.
Well, that's right, but still doesn't mean that automatically he should be a leadoff guy if DJ's hurt. They should have gone with the person with the experience, Verdugo. Now, there's one thing about the way this is constituted. I am concerned now with Aaron Judge following Juan Soto because Soto was basically on base all the time, right? You can basically lock it in, right? He's on base 50% of the time, right? And Aaron Judge coming up after him, too many ground balls. He's rolling over too many pitches. So they need to do something about that. How do they do something about that? If they swap it around, will that help? Maybe Aaron Judge doesn't chase so. Maybe he doesn't chase so much back in the 2-hole. And then Juan Soto follows them. And Juan Soto could be the RBI guy. Maybe. Now that I'm thinking of it, because these constant double plays, they need to do something to break it up. But then you're also changing something that's working purely because your captain can't do the job. So really, it is down to Aaron Judge. I mean, Juan Soto's batting 323 in the 2-hole. Do you take him out purely because your captain is so incompetent that you can't keep him from grounding into a double play? That doesn't seem fair. So really, it's down to Aaron Judge to fix this issue. I'm not sure, but the cleanup hole for me is the biggest thing here. Like Verdugo doesn't strike me as a cleanup hitter, but he's actually he did such a good job because he kind of broke up this. I credit NYYU, Pete and Johnny were talking about this. Like the middle of the order is slow and it's old, and you can tell. Rizzo, Stanton. It's nasty. Black hole right there of just age, right? And then Torres, incompetent. You put them together, and it's just I don't know. It's unathletic, and it looks washed. Maybe they need to break it up. Dominguez coming back would be a godsend now, because you can maybe not. Maybe he's not a leadoff guy. Maybe you put him in the middle of the order.
It's fine with me too. Put him.
Clean
You
it
can
up.
put him wherever you want. That
Yeah.
guy's gonna hit. I'm fully confident
Yep.
in Dominguez, and I wish he was healthy. And I'm expecting much of the same. Maybe not as high production wise, but when we get Jones here next year, we'll see a lot more athleticism in this lineup as well. It's unfortunate that these veterans are struggling right now the way they are, because Rizzo has looked at now for about a year and a half. Like after he got hit in the head, he's looked like this. But we saw the signs that he can still hit. He showed it last week. He was player of the week. So he's shown the signs of it. But then you see the very next day, he's running into the outfield, and you're like, what's going on?
Where'd
in
you
his
go?
head? Yeah, you're like, I was thinking, like, where's he going? It looked like something out of a video game where you only have control over one player and you just keep sending him out there. I'm like, where is he going? And then the ball naturally drops in. And I was like, here we fucking go. That's where it kind of spiraled out of control. And poor Nestor Cortez, he was actually doing a pretty good job against that lineup. We haven't even talked about the pitching. That's because they've been so good. They've been saving the team. And this is without Garrett Cole, this rotation, and even the bullpen. The fact that this bullpen's not even fully healthy, and it's a couple of makeshift guys thrown in there right now, they're holding their own. Luke Weaver has been phenomenal as of late. He had a little bit of a rough patch, but he's been great. Ferguson's picked it up. Yeah, these guys are pitching their asses off, and it's much of the same as we saw last year, where the pitching is carrying the load. But if they give up 3 runs, it doesn't matter. They're probably going to drop the game, because if they're playing like this, if they're playing like they were in Milwaukee, they're going to win a ton. If they're playing like they played the last 2 nights, they're going to lose a ton. It's too inconsistent. It's like this pendulum. It just keeps going like this, and they can't even out. Once they even out, this team's going to win a ton of games, and I know it's going to come. Aaron Judge is too damn good for this to keep up, and I can't repeat that enough. Oswaldo Cabrera was 3 years away from tying the game, and that ball is actually in Camden Yards to buy. They have Michael K's quote. 3 years ago, it's a tie game. That fly ball, that stupid goddamn wall they pushed back because they wanted to attract more free agents, but they don't want to spend money. Whatever, Baltimore. I'm pissed about the last 2 games. I am. But I also know that it's been 1 month. We have 19 wins with a struggling captain, no ace. We have bad production from several key players, and this team has still managed to win 19 games. So when it does level out, it's going to be really fun. I'm just hoping it happens sooner than later so this doesn't become a tailspin. But it needs to change tonight. We need to see that change immediately, and we can feel confident that this team is actually
Corbin Burns. Fluffed.
Hey, we have a tendency to hit good pitchers. You know, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they put up a crooked number against him. It also wouldn't surprise me if there was a no-hitter. But that's where we are.
Nothing will surprise me.
No,
I do want to get into the chat because there's so many people in the chat. Then we'll hand off to Uncle T. We'll say hello to the chat because they're all active this morning, and we do really appreciate it, and we do want to give everybody a shout out. So let's start with the bottom first, or the most recent ones. Joan Seco says Stanton doesn't have long enough hot streaks to warrant his pay. D-Rod, so do we want Dominguez lead off? Another rookie, but we complain that Vulpe is lead off, and he was batting 400 when he was put there? I mean, that's a good point, but what we're trying to establish here is that this team is unathletic, and the at-bat quality has been disappointing from a large portion now, and we need Dominguez to break it up. Dominguez can help fix some of these issues. Volpe is part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah.
Dominguez will be part of the solution. So will Spencer Jones. There's no question about all of that. We're just trying to find the right constitution to make this lineup tick, because we've been shut out 5 times in April. That's historic. I mean, I wouldn't have expected us to have been shut out 5 times all year. We've been shut out 5 times, and it's April.
We didn't
That
get shut out
doesn't
at all last year in April.
should never happen. Not when you
I
got
think it wasn't
Arizona,
until like
Juan
late
Soto.
June we had our first shutout.
And do you know what's crazy? Juan Soto is playing 10 times better than any of our wildest dreams. And we've still been shut out 5 times. So he's everything. So it's down to the rest of the team. How the hell has that happened? And our pitching's been really good. So there's something not right. Right? That's just the fact. Something's missing. So I do agree with D-Rod. D-Rod, Stan had the worst swing in the ninth inning I've seen all year. He missed that ball by a foot. No, 10 feet. That's how much he missed the ball by.
That was
The catcher caught it before Stan even swung. Like, it was ridiculous. It was the worst. It was embarrassing. It was actually, like, hilarious. It was like, oh, these dudes have mailed it in. And they've not even pretended to make it look like they cared. I agreed with NFE, the pitching. Start pitching bullpen has been solid. I agree with that. Damien says, hate to say it, but Boone won't play him consistently. He always goes with his vets and their feelings instead of playing the best player. Well, yeah, I know it's a tough one though, because you don't want to piss off your veterans. You don't want to, because they're prideful, and you got to keep everything right. That's why it takes a good manager. That's why Joe Torre was always the perfect manager for veteran teams, because he knew how to manage their egos and to keep them with the biggest picture, the bigger picture, which is to win a championship for the New York Yankees, because the New York Yankees matter, not the individual. But he was able to keep everybody singing from the same hymn sheet. What we'll need to see moving forward is if Aaron Boone's that guy, because Aaron Boone's great as being your friend, right? He's great at being your friend, but I want to see him manage these egos and keep them all with the biggest picture, and that's to win it all. So, good point. I love Will Starr's point here. Stanton swings like he's sweeping under the couch. I don't want to make it feel like we're all beating up on Stanton, because for me, Stanton's actually played better than I think we all could have hoped for. But
no, it's one at bat we're going after him for, not his season.
I'm furious at the way he was thrown out between first and second on a single by Wells, and it was taken away because the dude was standing there picking his nose. That's kind of embarrassing for me. Let's see. Vulpe was kicking his ass in sixth, and they went leadoff. So you want to do the same thing for Dugo.
Verdugo's season to adjust to that.
Talking about something we wanted at the start of the season, D-Rod. I want to, like, D-Rod, like we explained it. I'm not trying to attack you and saying that you're attacking us, but we're just saying the switch happened too soon, because you mentioned Verdugo in the cleanup spot. Oh, he's killing it. It's been 2 games in the cleanup spot. So it's not like it was a season worth of him killing it in the cleanup spot, or a whole series or a whole week. It was 2 games. So does that keep up? Like this, they can change a couple things around. I also said that you probably don't take Vulpe out of the leadoff spot now, because you've already kept him there for 2 weeks. So what's the point of changing it? I'm just saying it should have been Verdugo from the start. That's all I've been saying. It should have been Verdugo from the start.
Another thing to think of. Another thing before you get to this comment. The other thing with Vulpe, right? He's in the 6th spot. Who was batting behind him? Torres, who was doing not Torres, who was batting behind him for a while. It really wasn't doing anything. So, now you put him in front of Soto, who is an extremely productive hitter. So they're pitching Vulpe a lot differently in the 1 spot than they were in the 6th spot, because they weren't really threatened by the bottom of the order. They are threatened by the top. So they're going to adjust the approach of how they pitch. Now it's just up to Vulpe to readjust to how they're pitching him, and you will start to see the production go back up on the uptick. So it's just, it's a learning curve for Vulpe. And look, they put him in the leadoff spot. They made the claim that he's going to be there for 10 years. They're sticking by it, and that's something that the Yankees do. If they make a statement, 9 out of 10 times, they write it out until we're ready to run him out of town.
Yeah, good point. Actually, if they don't see the level of privilege as captain, the title can easily be soon enough. They're not strict captain. That's never going to happen. Sneal, I hate to brace myself for this question. Curious question, Rob. Where does the Rubinho reference originate from? How did you come up with it?
Didn't Donald did?
It's an in joke. Are we allowed? Are we allowed to make jokes on this show? No, it's
Listen,
his alias. You know what I mean? It's his alias. Okay, give me a break. Come on.
my full name is
Uh,
Lavine Germain.
exactly. Blame me, Juan. Blame me, bro. Joan, Rizzo no longer a Gold Glove first baseman. He's playing terrible. To be fair, awful. Um, Damien says Yankees missed the mark. Should have been Verdugo, Judge, Soto.
That's what
Probably
I
agree.
wanted.
Probably agree with that. But there's Will Star. We need speed and power fourth and fifth. That makes sense because I do think we need to break up this old slow guard because there's too many double plays. So maybe that's why Verdugo will actually be useful in the cleanup hole because he actually doesn't ground into a double play. Imagine that. So
But that's why I
what I
actually
will
like Vulpe in the 4th spot.
yeah, and he
Verdugo
he
rather.
splits up the righties between Judge and Stan. It's a good point too,
Mhm.
D-Rod. But anyway, we love all the comments and thank you so much, guys. We're all passionate today, but we do appreciate the comments.
Yeah, and closing this out. Look, the season is not over. Judge is not losing his captainship. Volpe is not the worst leadoff hitter that the Yankees have ever had. Boom might be up there on one of the more puzzling managers that we've ever had because we've seen when he takes full reins. I think that he is a good manager. I just think sometimes he gets in his own way. We see how he is when he puts the book down. We saw how the season started. I want to see our offense go back to being more patient at the plate. I want that little league approach where if you don't like it, don't swing at it. But they swing at everything. The defense is an issue. We need LeMahieu back. We need to get Torres out of the second base spot. I think that is the fix to a lot, not all, but a lot of the problems on defense. We need a legitimate second baseman that can field without having to hold our breath. And also we'll give Rizzo some time to get off his feet because Rizzo is going to burn out. Because there's aside from Cabrera, who, if you put a runner in scoring position when he's at the plate, I'm on the edge of my seat because 9 out of 10 times he's going to deliver. His bat's not the problem. His glove is. So, I don't want to have to keep relying on Cabrera to be the infield utility guy.
I like this comment from Acevedo, and I want to pass this to the panel. What do you think here? No reporter asked Boone if you would like that loss to the Brewers back because we need it now. In reference to the bullpen mismanagement, let's start with Rob.
Didn't you use Clay Holmes in the first game of the series? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was the game that they're referring to.
In the 8th inning.
Yeah, so he didn't use him for 2 innings because he was on pace for 80 games, but he used him in the first game of this series.
When we're down 1-0 in the 8th inning.
I mean, I've said it already. I understood what he was trying to do there, but his decision making was bad, and he contradicted himself immediately 2 days later, and he did it again in the first game. So no reporter's ever going to ask him that because the only time you see a reporter actually give someone a real question is when he's on Talking Yanks. Whenever he's on with John Boy and Jake, they actually ask him these tough questions. These reporters don't really do that because recently when they've tried to ask him these questions, he kind of gets mad. So they've stopped. So they're kind of just like, let's not anger Boone. And I think it's up to John Boy and Jake right now to ask these tough questions to him. So I don't expect a guy I love Brian Hoke, but I don't expect him to ask these questions. And the rest of the guys, like whoever else works for the Post or whatever, we know they're not going to ask. Maybe Sherman, maybe Joel Sherman. He might be the one to ask him the tough question. But I can't see any of these actual reporters doing that to him.
I know. I think a lot of it is to do with media access. I think the game has changed. I think the media game has changed now, and it's more about maintaining relationships than holding teams and people accountable. That changed when Mike Francesa went off the air, and especially Mike and the Mad Dog. But then laterally, Francesa on his own, he made a point of it. He held people accountable. He held their feet to the fire, and since he's retired now or partially retired, it's now more about maintaining relationships, and it's sad to see because, I mean, honestly, Rob's right. He contradicted himself. My problem was not the loss. My problem, right? Well, no, my problem was that he contradicted himself in game 3 of that series, and then again, game 1 of this series. So if you're gonna say, you know what, we're conscious of not overusing him, fine, all right. Well, we'll take that as gospel, as long as you maintain that for the following series and the following games. But you didn't, bro. You went the exact opposite. You put Clay Holmes in a non-save situation in the 8th inning when you're losing 1-0. Right? And I understand why, because you want to keep it at 1-0. But again, the narrative is we want to protect them. We want to make sure we don't overuse them. Fine, I don't have an issue with that. But stay consistent. Stay consistent. He didn't stay consistent. He completely went against it. Right? We don't want to overuse guys, so we really want to make sure that we're not overusing them and getting them tired. Completely agree. Great. Then why are you putting your best relievers in when you're up 10 runs the next day? Why are you putting high leverage relievers in up 10 runs? Why are you taking out a garbage reliever when there's runners on second and third, God forbid, and we're up 15-5 in the 8th inning? Why are you taking him out to put in another high leverage reliever in order to get out of that situation? What was the worst that could possibly happen? And that's like mind-boggling to me. The worst thing that could possibly happen is it's a 3-run home run. What would the score be? 15-8. Right? Not 16-15. 15-8. They would still need to score another 7 runs. So, honestly, it's mind-blowing. The level of incompetence. Stay consistent. Jesus.
Now, look, the inconsistency of the whole thing, it's very puzzling. Where I can see the mentality being is don't let them feel like they can get back in this game. Just shut that inning down. Don't let them feel like they can gain any momentum. Sweep the rug out from under them. Bring in one of your better guys. Shut the door on them. 9th inning, game over. So I don't think it was the worst decision that he's made. It was the narrative after with the reporters that just kind of had all of us shaking our heads, going, "You're not making any sense." It's almost like the whole thing back again with Vulpe. Now we don't know what's going to happen with the lead. Eventually he'll be lead off, and then the very next day he's in the leadoff spot. And you're trying to cover your ass by saying that you were just trying to protect Torres. Well, there were 8 other players you could have put into the leadoff spot, not Vulpe. Why him? So, and look, and I'm okay with the move. As long as, because they've stuck with it. They're letting him figure it out. It's early enough in the season where if this starts to really spiral into where we're losing too many games, then you have to make another adjustment. And I think they will. I really think they're going to make the adjustment. They're not taking the season lightly. There have been a couple of games, a couple of managerial moves where we're going, all right, here's 2023 all over again. But if you compare this year to last year, we're in a much better spot than we were. we're not sitting in third, fourth place like we were last year because of the start that the Orioles had, because of the insane start of the season that Tampa had. So a lot of these issues were even more amplified because now we're going up two hills because we have two teams to hop over. We're only out of first by one game. We could level off the series tonight because, like Rob said, took the words out of my mouth before. When it comes to another team's ace, more likely than not, we do get to them in the first inning. And so if you're able to put a decent lineup out, maybe tonight's the night with, to avoid being, losing three in a row, switch Judge and Soto for a game. See what happens. Maybe that's what helps everything click. Maybe that's what gets Judge going. As much as he wanted the third, to bat third, him batting second is still going to be familiar to him because he's been doing that. So put him back where he's familiar with somebody that's actually an even harder out behind him and Soto.
Aaron Judge was the best player in baseball batting second. That's why I didn't want to see them make the switch. I'm glad that, Judge was like, I want to do it. Let's do it. And Soto was game for it. Soto didn't care where he hits. He said, I don't care where you put me. I don't care where you play me. I'm going to give you my all. That's the attitude you want. So I don't think Soto's going to really care if they say, hey, tonight we're going to bat you third. Because he also prefers to bat third. I'm not saying it needs to happen right now. I'm just saying explore it because why not? Because if that's the thing that gets Aaron Judge going, guess what? This lineup's not going to get shut out 5 times in a month. If Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are both clicking at the same time, we're not getting shut out 5 times in 1 month. But right now we are. And that's with Juan Soto, as Donald mentioned, having an unbelievable start to this season. He's MVP leader right now, in my opinion. But the rest of the lineup is the kind of streaky guys. Like Rizzo had a good stretch, and then he looked terrible. And then he would be good, and then he'd be terrible. Judge had a good few games, but overall he's been bad. Let's call it what it is. Torres hasn't hit since the start of the season. Vulpe was fantastic, and over the last 2 weeks he's been really bad. So it's a very meh lineup outside of Juan Soto. So I'm just saying a quick little switch of 2 players is maybe something that can fix it. That's it. If you want to keep everything else the same, you want to bat Verdugo fourth and have 2 lefties back-to-back, I don't care. Do it. But if it breaks up that Judge, Stanton, Rizzo trio that's right now, and Torres, right now that's the four hitters that are really, as you said, black hole. Might even be worse than a black hole. What's darker than black? Vanta black is the darkest shade of black, I think. That's what the Yankees' middle of the order is right now. It's bad. So anything that can possibly break it up, try it. I'm just saying, just try it. But the good news is, usually in April, you want to hover around 500, and you're going to be in a good spot the rest of the way. Because the Yankees are most of the time a second-half team anyway. We have 19 wins. So it's not doom and gloom. The season's not over by any means. We're not saying, throw your jerseys away, return your shit, fuck the pinstripes. No, none of that. We're the reason why we're so upset is because this team is too goddamn good to be making mistakes like this. Because we know this team can go very, very far. We didn't feel this way about the team last year because there were too many glaring issues. This team is too good to be playing the way it is, and yet we are playing the way they are, and we still have 19 wins. So one of the highest win totals in baseball. So we know how much better they can be. We know how good they can be, and that's why we're upset about it. We know it's only 2 losses in April to the Orioles, but we want to have 2 more wins against the Orioles to start May. Is that fair? That's not doom and gloom. That's just expectations from a really good team.
Yeah, it's just reacting to the games that are being played. It's like I said, I don't think the season's over by a freaking long shot. I still think that they could win this division easily. I think that they can win a dogfight with the Orioles, no problem. Because we have the veterans that they don't. Okay? The only advantage that they have is the manager. They're managed a little bit differently than the Yankees are. So, but who knows if they
and Adley Rushman. I think that's a pretty good advantage. And you got Corbin Burns striking out 12 people a night. It's a pretty good advantage.
They're more athletic too. They're a lot
Yeah.
faster. They
Yeah.
can kill you on the base
They're
pads. We
constructed
don't. Yeah, they're constructed differently. We will get there. Don't eventually. It's not going to happen this year, but when Dominguez is here and Jones is here, and assuming one of the two infielders, Lombard or Arias, work out, that's a ton of speed that's going to be coming here the next couple of years. So we're going to get there. We already have Vulpe in the lineup. He's not going anywhere. Wells runs pretty well, no pun intended, for a catcher. This team will have some more speed in the upcoming years, but you'd like to be built the way they are. A team that can hit you for power, hit you for contact, and kill you on the base paths. We only have one guy that can do that to you right now. Two, if you put Grisham in there, but he doesn't get on base enough to actually use his speed.
Yeah, you got to get on base to be able to run. Yeah.
We need a bench.
But that's going to wrap things up for us today. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. It's good to be back with all of yous. But look, just play today, win today. That's it. There's nothing we could, we could complain about yesterday, but yesterday's already gone. There's no change in the result. So you have Burns on the mound. We have a good history of beating the crap out of other ace pitchers. So let's hope the trend begins tonight, because you get an ace. Usually, their first inning is always usually the toughest to get through. So let's put the pressure on him. Let's put up a crooked number to start the game and go from there. But we will see. We will be back on Friday. We will review the rest of the Orioles series and look forward to the series ahead of that. We'll do our awards as we always do at the end of every series. So if you haven't, hit that notification bell so you never miss a show that we do. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out, friends, your family, the stranger on the corner. As I always like to say, where you pinch ice your pride and play hard.
Play harder than Torres does.